My spiritual journey began when I was 8 years old. And precisely speaking, on the following day of my first communion, when my father passed away. So of course it was a kind of traumatic event, but simultaneously I felt internal conflict. I felt pain. I couldn't understand. I couldn't have talked to anybody about this. I didn't know what it was, but I had this pain. Pain that there is death, but people were just telling me it's just part of life. It's as if somebody told me, it's a part of life that we go to work or we get sick or we get fired and you cannot find another job or another partner. Have you ever had this conflict and you couldn't have agreed with that? You felt you couldn't have agreed. Let's say, for example, you were with someone as a partner. You were with someone and you didn't love this person. You didn't judge that person, but you didn't love this person. And you knew that you cannot stay forever in that relationship because you don't love. And you don't know what to do, but you knew there is a solution to that because you couldn't have agreed for less. So I couldn't have agreed for less that there is death. And people were telling me, we are being born, we live and we die. And I didn't, of course, know the answer, but I felt the answer is here around us. There is a wisdom that we can really draw this wisdom to ourselves and fulfill ourselves and to understand that and to implement in our life. So as 8 years old boy, I went to a church, to a Catholic church when I was an altar boy for a couple of years. And then of course I went to different kind of experiences, life experiences dealing with the Judeo-Christianity and then followed by Jainism and Hinduism and Buddhism and Huna and Scientology and astrology, Vedic astrology, conventional astrology, Pleiadians, psychology, all of these things, Reiki. I really seriously, in all honesty, it wasn't just reading books or going to courses. I was putting all myself into that core. And believe it or not, it is a serious responsibility going towards things like that with other people. But I had to find out the answer. And finally, I didn't find the answer. And I didn't know why. What I knew to begin with, it was that, okay, I had this conflict, I had this pain, and once I started that philosophy, that particular philosophy or knowledge or philosophy or whatever that was, or religion, it was gone. It was gone, but came back. Sometimes came back after a week, a couple of months, or a couple of years. So I couldn't lie to myself because I couldn't agree for less. And I understood finally why it didn't work for me. Why I couldn't have taken under the consideration all cows in my life, because we have this power. Not coming from ego, but coming from our soul to control every doubt in our life. We have this power in our consciousness. So what actually happened is that I realized that all of these religion, philosophies and ways of life and self-development things, maybe they work for you and that's great. But for me, they didn't have three forces. They had one or two, for example, just giving and sharing or taking and giving, like plus and minus. But you see, when you join plus and minus only, there is short circuit. The light will shine, yes, but for a short time. So I had the same experience. I went, I experienced, and I felt the pain again. It didn't work for me. I had to find out a way to implement three forces, because the whole universe, everything what surrounds us and ourselves, we are constitutes, actually, we are coming from these three forces, which is electron minus, which is proton plus, and neutron, that combine these two forces. And by implementing this, and I call that restrictionalism, to restrict something, by restricting that part of my consciousness and the field of our life, that independent, because it really depends on the circumstances and depends where you have pain, we can develop long-lasting fulfillment. So of course, when we talk about the death, it could be financial death, but also it could be body death. So we, by implementing these three forces, we are connecting with our soul, and by connecting with our soul, I can understand more what is truly and really immortality.